Bada bang, bada boom. You know what it is. Guillotine Geeks back on the scene. Picks and predictions. We got UFC Fight Night, Rozenstruik versus Almeida. We're going through the main card. We just did the prelims. Check in for that video. Let's get after it. First fight on the main card. We have got Tim Means, the Dirty Bird, versus Alex Morono. What's his name? Like the Great White or something? Morono 22-8. Tim Means 32-14. I think that this is a tough matchup for Tim Means, just because, he's not that same guy he used to be, where he's not as athletic anymore. His movements are kind of limited. And Morono is just weird on the feet, and he still has that athleticism. He still has that bounce. So I feel like it's just going to be kind of Tim Means really looking for Morono in this fight. And, Morono just kind of laying out that tactical safe side game plan that he always brings, and kind of just pulling it through for a full 15 minutes. I know that, in his last fight with, I'm not sure if it was last fight or if it's a fight ago with Ponzinibbio, he was fighting so well, and, just got clipped right there in that third round, just kind of fell away from the game plan, and it went through the roof. But I think that I think that Morono is going to be able to escape the face this time and get to the decision. So I'm taking Morono just by outclass, and I'm kind of 30-27 type thing. What do you got, Goosey?
Going with Tim Means here. I think that he's got the ability to mix up the game plan here. Stylistically, very good boxer. All right. There will be good boxing on display. Morono, that's typically where he excels against guys where he's superior in the boxing. He kind of dances on him a little bit. I think Tim Means can be walking forward, throwing those straight punches, giving him the bows if he tries to sneak inside. And then if he does need to take the fight to the ground, he can here. Morono, he has been looking good, but they're both fighting similar competition. Tim Means losing a split to Max Griffin last time out. Nothing to scoff at. He was doing pretty good against Kevin Holland as well. He's beat guys like Nicholas Dalby, Mike Perry, and Star Poli recently. So I think Tim Means has what it takes to get it done. I know the Sharps have been going Means way as well here, so I'm gonna pick him.
Let's go, Daniel. What do you got?
I'm all over Morono in this one, and CEO said it best. He looked great in the Ponzinibbio fight until he got clipped. And I remember before, even though, yes, it is Cowboy in the later stages, Morono ran through Cowboy with some crazy combinations on the feet. Even though I don't hold Morono too high in regards of on the feet skills or even on the ground skills, he's kind of just all around really good. And he does have that weird style, as CEO was saying. I think that's going to be able to get it done. Not to be a douche, but I think Tim Means is kind of just collecting checks at this point. He's 39 years old. He's not a danger on the feet, in my opinion, especially to Morono, who was in there with Ponzinibbio, dropping him and hitting him with all kinds of stuff. I think that won't be a problem for Morono in this one. It will be a little bit of a problem if it does get to the ground and we see Tim Means get on top or get his back in some instances, but I don't think that's going to happen too much because we saw what Morono did. Again, going back to the Ponzinibbio fight, that was real short notice. We saw how good he looked. We saw the cardio was looking good. But now we get Alex Morono in a full camp. So I think, he got that bad taste out of his mouth. He got a full camp under his belt. And I think he's going to come out here looking good for the people in Charlotte.
Let's go. All right, we're moving into the next one. This is a pretty decent fight right here. We got Carlos Ulberg, 7-1, coming out against Ihor Potieria, 19-3. Super interesting matchup. Man, I'm gonna have to pick Carlos Ulberg in this one. I think that this is just gonna come down to it's gonna be a striking battle. He's the more tactical guy coming out of that big old dope camp over there with Volk and Izzy and all these dudes. And Pateria is just, I've seen a lot of flaws in his game. Like, if you've seen his last couple fights, like, even the Rua fight, it's just closer than it needs to be. That guy, I hate to say it, legend of the game, all respect, but, he was completely done fighting, and, it just wasn't as easy as it should have been. And Carlos Ulberg's not going to be anything to scoff at, and he's going to be bringing some heat. So I'm not sure if this guy's on the juicer or what, but he's got pop, dude. And Pateria I've seen get hit too many times. So I think Ulberg's going to lay it on him. And I'm going to leave it at that. The under's a good one in this too, I think. What do you got, Dano?
I think this is a pretty simple breakdown from me, and I think Carlos Ulberg is going to style on him. And I say that because we got a 32-year-old Ulberg who we know that's right around the prime of fighters' careers, especially in the heavier weight divisions. We got a young 26-year-old Ihor Bateria who, like you were saying, CEO's got some holes in his game. I think Ulberg has had a lot of momentum behind him. That loss to Kennedy is really aging pretty well because Kennedy's getting a lot of momentum behind him too, and Ulberg even looked good in that fight. So I think with more experience under Ulberg's belt, the camp is being hot over there at City Kickboxing. I think he runs through Ihor here.
Fair enough. All right, we're moving into the Goosey. What do you want?
I'm giving my pick here. I'm picking Ulberg.
Oh,
I
whoa.
think he knocks him out. And going a little further, all right, from the UFC's perspective, we got a very marketable guy, Carlos Ulberg, and we have a guy that the fans want to see kind of get put some work on. If you're dancing on Shogun Rua in his retirement fight in Brazil, I don't think that that's going to buy you any favors with the UFC. They sent him a bad stylistic matchup, and I think Ulberg gets it done early.
Fair enough. We're moving into the next boot. This is another welterweight scrap. We got D-Rod, 17-3, coming out against Ian Machado Gary. Let's go. 11-0. The future. I think that's what he calls himself. So D-Rod coming off kind of a degrading L. You know, he's not the youngest dude. He kind of made his run. He runs into the gatekeeper in Neil Magny and kind of just gets closed off right there at the gate and shown levels per se. And wasn't there wrestling wise. Neil Magny kind of just mixed it up on him to the point where he was holding him against the cage and kind of doing whatever he wanted. Machado, here we go. I can't believe I just called him Machado. That's like his wife's last name. Ian Gary, he's just good, man. He's like well put together. His stand-up is just honestly beautiful to watch. It's just so nice. I think he's gonna be able to mix it up with D-Rod here. I think that on the feet, the kicking game is gonna be completely in Ian's favor. D-Rod doesn't like to play that kind of shit. And when it all adds up, Ian Gary's got more tools to win this fight. And if his chin holds up, there's no reason why he doesn't win. I think D-Rod's only chance of winning this fight is landing a big shot. So I'm not gonna ride that. I'm gonna ride what I think I know, and that's Ian Gary being the better fighter over 3 rounds right here. Goosey, what do you got?
Ian Gary, I think as he says, the future is inevitable. He's a very good fighter. He's staying active here. All right, he took some time off. He's hungry to get back to it. And barring one punch his last fight, he looked very good. Stylistically, a little different matchup. We got D-Rod going to be southpaw in there, but I still think the length, the leg kicks, all that good stuff is going to go Ian Gary's direction. He's just got to kind of avoid a big left hand and a right hook here. And I think if he's keeping D-Rod at the end of his punches, using his kicks, might have to get the grappling going a little bit just to throw him off. I think Ian Gary, he's got the tools in the bag. He's very good. He's on the rise. And I think the hype train keeps going here. I'm going to pick him probably by decision against D-Rod. D-Rod's a tough dude.
Big win here could line up Ian Gary to get on that Connor card, whatever the hell that's going to be. What do you got, Dano?
I'm picking Ian Gary too, and it hates me to say it because I do love D-Rod, but I feel like D-Rod is just kind of becoming a little bit of a stepping stone in the division because, like you were saying, Neil Magny lost. That does hurt. But not Neil Magny, D-Rod. D-Rod's got some good kicks along with the hands. We all know he's got hands, but D-Rod's got some good kicks too. But what I've seen in his last couple of fights is he does throw kicks in weird times. So what I imagine, the first thing that comes to mind is the Dom Reyes Ryan Spann fight, when Dom Reyes was just throwing kicks at weird times, allowing Spann to just come in, get some clean shots on him, and ultimately knock Dom Reyes out. I don't know if D-Rod will get knocked out here, but I could definitely see, some leg kicks landing, because Ian Gary did get eaten up by leg kicks in his last fight, and Gabe Green was getting some off on him. I think that D-Rod will land some of them and be like, oh, that's working, that's working. And second round might throw some more and then just get popped. I think Gary's too clean, too crisp on the feet. And if there's an opening, I think he will find it.
Let's go. All right. We're moving to the next one. We got a what is this? A light heavyweight scrap, 205. Anthony Smith, the Lionheart, 36-17, coming out against Johnny Walker, 20-7. Johnny Walker, always a fun night of fights when Johnny Walker's involved. I think Anthony Smith is just too smart for Johnny Walker at this point. I think that he's going to catch him in a submission, and I think he's going to catch him early. I think that Anthony Smith knows exactly what he needs to do, and Johnny Walker is kind of a guy who kind of just goes with the flow. And I know that Kavanaugh's there and he has good corner, and it's just the thing is when it comes down to it, these scrambles and these big decisions that are gonna ultimately lead to the result of the fight, I think he's going to make a mistake. And I think Anthony Smith is just such a high level grappler that he's going to be able to capitalize on even the slightest thing, even if it's just giving his back for a second, I think it's going to be a wrap. So yeah, Anthony Smith, that's my geek of the week too. Dano, what do you got?
I totally see Anthony Smith outsmarting him, but for some reason I'm riding the wave of Johnny Walker right now. I think Johnny Walker is going to put him out just because I can't get over how big Johnny Walker is. He's a big dude, and I feel like he's one of those guys where all you need is one or two punches to wobble Anthony Smith, and then he's a maniac where he'll jump a flying knee into him. Anthony Smith is an older guy getting up there, and this could definitely be one where Smith out vets him, out experiences him, gets a decision win or a submission win. I could totally see that. But my pick for this one is going to be Walker by TKO.
Fair enough. What do you got, Goosey?
Picking Anthony Smith. All right. And this was kind of a toss back and forth. They're both at similar spots in their career where they're right there knocking on the door, and then they get knocked down, and then they win a few fights and they get knocked down. I think that Johnny Walker has like the athleticism advantage, Anthony Smith style brawler advantage. I'm going to take Anthony Smith here. And then another thing, I was watching the ESPN MMA. They did a little documentary on this. Dude, Johnny Walker has a scene in there where him and his wife go thrift shopping, and like as a joke, they have to wear what the other one wears him. He's wearing a dress walking down the street in the ESPN MMA thing. And I'm sitting there watching, and I'm like, Anthony Smith's going to knock this guy out. So I think Anthony Smith gets it done. I think he hits a shot on that sometimes suspect chin of Johnny Walker.
Yo, for real, Anthony Smith does have slept on stand up. I'm talking a lot about his jiu-jitsu. He does have good stand up. All right, we're moving into the main event. The fight everyone wants to see. Jairzinho Rozenstruik, Biggie Boy, coming out against Gelton Almeida, Mahaldinho. All right. Well, Gelton Almeida looks like a massive favorite here. This guy's clearly a problem in this division. Just running through everybody he's fighting kind of really quickly too. Probably the rookie of the year in a lot of people's eyes last year. This guy is seriously a problem. And this is going to be a good test for him because, Shamil's his last win. It was a second round ground and pound, pure domination. It's a similar matchup, but Jairzinho is just way more dangerous on the feet. And the thing is when you rewatch the Shamil fight with Gelton, like in the first round, like you can watch like the first 20 seconds, like the first almost exchange, Shamil lands a bomb right on Gelton's chin. And, it doesn't really hurt him or anything. And he ends up getting a takedown. But you just think, like, if that's Biggie Boy and he's landing that shot, like, that's definitely not going to be going the same way. So I do think Jairzinho's a live dog in this. I mean, value-wise, Gelton's really not been past the second round too often, so it's definitely going to be interesting in a 5-round scrap. I think Jairzinho's a solid dog to ride in, definitely in a heavyweight matchup like this, and I think that the over is a good pick too. So I'm riding the over because I don't think that Gelton's going to be able to run through this guy as quick as others. So you'll probably get a good value on that. I think he at least survives if he does. So what do you got, Dano?
I'm riding with Gelton Almeida, the Brazilian Khabib. I think we all know that heavyweight ground game, heavyweight jiu-jitsu, heavyweight grappling is really just not as good as the lower weight classes. We know Gelton Almeida is a light heavyweight, true and true. He has been fighting at heavyweight his past couple fights. We're gonna see Biggie Boy come in around 250, 260, maybe pushing that limit. But we're gonna have Almeida down in the 230s, maybe 240s, doubtfully, maybe the 250s. I doubt it though. He likes to stay slim for the heavyweight division. He likes to stay quick, and I think that's gonna play a big factor into this one. I think it's worth dabbling round one because, like you were saying, CEO, if Biggie Boy lands, Biggie Boy's got power. He could put Almeida out, but we could also maybe see Almeida wait for him to overreach with those overhands, slips it, gets a takedown, and then we're just dealing with bad heavyweight jiu-jitsu, which I think Almeida will eat it up, especially if he gets Biggie Boy's back. So I'm riding with Gelton Almeida, and it's tough not to pick him by sub.
Facts. Goosey, what do you got?
All right, so you look at this fight. Why is it a main event? I think the UFC is trying to push Gelton Almeida. If that wasn't the case, they probably would have put Johnny Walker and Anthony Smith at the top of the card. I think Biggie Boy spoils the party, though. I'm gonna take a chance on Biggie Boy dinking him here. You look at it. He's tough to sub. He's never been subbed. He's fought some very elite grapplers. He's fought Alistair Overeem when he did go to that part of his career where he was grappling more. Still had the bombs in his hands. Took him all the way to the end of the 5th round, and with 1 second left, put him out cold. He was able to get to a decision with Curtis Blades, busted his orbital with a flying knee in that one. He's sneaky athletic. He's got pretty good takedown defense, and he's hard to sub. I think that's going to be a tougher night than Almeida's expecting. And I think all it takes is him getting it to the 3rd round here, because Almeida's going to be pedal to the metal early. And if he can't put him away, which I'm anticipating Biggie Boy is going to be a little bit tougher than he's expecting. Every round starts with a stand-up, and when you're fighting Jairzinho Rozenstruik, as Chris Dawkins knows, it only takes one. So I'm going to pick Biggie Boy to dink him here and get the knockout.
Fire me up. Let's go. All right, riding the dog, Goosey. All right, looks like we are split on that one. Those are the picks and predictions. Thanks for tuning in. Geeks are out. Drop a like, comment, subscribe. Hit us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitter, everything. Said everything twice, whatever.
Oh, that shit.